Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to class today. Today's class has a little bit of everything in it. We're going to look at some wrist mobility, spinal segmentation, some scapula, shoulder blade work, some feet work, and also a little bit of a core centration. You know I love working with props, the more the better, but for today, if you happen to have a block and maybe two small massage balls or tennis balls, that would be perfect. If not, then you'll be absolutely fine without them as well, but it's good to have them around. All right, so let's get it rolling. Just laying down on your back, connecting to the breath, connecting to the present moment, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And just let's try and block everything out and make this next 35-40 minutes just to be about you. Start moving your pelvis a little bit side to side or back and forth. Just a couple of times. And then try to find that area when you're kind of like neutral. You're in the middle, so you're not tilting too much forward, you're not tilting too much back. Then place your hands on your rib cage. And then see when you exhale if you can expand your rib cage all the way out. Then reach your arms all the way out to the side or above your head, depending on the ribs. If the ribs want to fire out, then just leave it to the side. And then just keep lengthening through the whole body. Pushing the ribs down. Adjusting the back of your head if you need to, so the chin is neutral, the ribs are down. Return your focus to your breathing again. Keep inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And now bend your left knee and gently drag your left foot toward your glutes. Press into that left foot, so the left glute is going to squeeze and maybe it's going to lift away from the ground. So do a few more of that. And then see when next time when you squeeze into it and it's lifting up, see if it wants to swing over to the right side. Maybe that left shoulder wants to come away from the ground as well. Let's just do one more. A gentle twist over to the left. You can reach your left arm up. The right hand may not or may push down on the ribs. And then release. Right knee bends. Slowly drag it in. And keep focusing on that right foot, pressing it into the ground. Right glute is squeezing a little bit. And maybe it lifts. Maybe it wants to swing over to the left. Maybe not. Just do a couple of more, nice and easy. And now this time, press into that right inner heel. And when you go over, push over to the left side, just stay there. Left hand can come on top of the right ribs to push them down. Right arm might be reaching all the way up. And then gently release. Both knees are bent now. Gently start moving your neck side to side. Slowly This time when you reach over with your neck to the right, lift your left hand up toward the ceiling, push your left ribs down, and then come off of the left shoulder blade and reach over to the right side. Then release, right arm reaches up, and then reaching all the way over to the left side. Let's not use the knees for this movement, just in the beginning, to see how it feels, and then we're going to add the knees in a moment. Right arm reaches up, reaching all the way over, slowly coming down. And now let's add the knees. Drop the knees to the right side, reach with the left arm, and then return to center. Drop the knees over to the left. And then see how much more space it's available when you're getting the legs involved. Next one, I'm going to do the same movement, windshield wiping the legs over, reaching with the left arm, but this time I'm going to press into my forearm and try to come up. And then I'm trying to go all the way back down as slow as I can with control. Now let's do it on the other side, coming all the way up, pushing up on that forearm, reaching forward. And then coming back as slow as possible. Let's do it again. Up to the forearm, and now maybe pushing all the way up into the hand. And now coming back down, down to the forearm, down to the elbow, all the way down. Other side. Reach up with that right arm, press into the left hand, and slowly return. Last one. Pushing into that hand, maybe lifting the hips off. And now bringing the legs together. And you may choose to use your hands or not. We're just going to come all the way up and then release the hips to one side and then push all the way back up and then release down to the other side. Use your hands if you need to. And let's just do a couple of more, side to side. And release. And now let's come to a tabletop position. Knees are under the hips. Try to stack your wrists under your shoulders. If that's too much, you can move the arms a little bit more ahead of you. Keep the elbows spiraling forward. Keep the back flat. And just start moving your neck, your chin, tucking it all the way down. And then extending it all the way back up. So we're segmenting the spine now, and we're only moving our cervical spine. So try to keep the rest of the body stable. Following your own pace, now start looking over to the right shoulder and see if you can see your hips. Then back to center. Looking over to the left without moving any other parts of your body. And let's just do one more on each side. See if you can see a little bit further this time. Arriving back to center, dropping that chin all the way down. One more time. And now just come sit back on your heels. Give your hands a little bit of a shake out. You can circle them all the way around. And come back into that tabletop position. Stack your hands under your shoulders. And then just start walking your fingertips all the way in and then all the way out. So you're just pressing down on your hands, walking them into all kinds of directions. And now I'm ending up in this position when my fingertips are pointing toward me. And this can be quite intense, so you can just stay there for a little bit of time. Or if any movement feels good here, you can maybe bend the elbows and then slowly start walking them all the way out. So the hands are turning in again, just from a different position. So it's more of like an inner rotation now. Try to keep your back flat. And then return back to center. Flip over to the top of the right hand and start circling your thumb around. Then do the same thing with the left hand. The distance between your hands, the more you separate the hands away from each other, the easier it is, and the more you keep them closer together, and more challenging. So now I'm doing these little push-ups into the top of my hands, and as I come up, I roll all the way up into my knuckles. And alternating between these two movements a few times. Like a mini push-up on the top of the hands, keeping the back flat, and then rolling all the way back to the knuckles, and then now start walking on those knuckles back and forth. Any kind of direction, it feels okay. We come down onto the forearms. Maybe release the forearms and then just start walking all around the edges of your hands, inner edges, outer edges. All kinds of awkward directions we don't normally work our hands in. Returning back to that couple of hand push-ups and rolling back to the knuckles, and then eventually just staying on the top of the hands, doing a few more of those push-ups. And then eventually straining the elbow as much as possible, staying up and then circling the thumbs. So we're aiming to keep the arm straight as much as possible. And now move the thumb into center and then squeeze your fingers around it and release. And again, thumb moves into center, rub the fingers around, squeeze, release. And again, squeeze, release, and then come off of the hands, give them another shake. Maybe start circling them around. And stay seated on your heels, reach your arms forward, keep them straight, elbow pits are spiraling forward. And now press into the base of your hand and lift your fingers off of the floor. So the fingers are really active, keep pressing the knuckles toward your elbows, and as you start tapping all the way down to the ground, pressing those fingertips all the way down, making sure that the elbow and the arms stay as straight as possible. And then just keep tapping. Just a little bit longer. Tap, tap, tap. And then hold. Keep pressing the knuckles toward the elbows as you slowly shift forward and slowly release the fingers all the way down. And continue to tap just a little bit longer. Arms stay straight. And then release. Give your hands a nice shake again. And then let's return one more time into that tabletop position. And start circling around your hands again. See how this circle feels after all the work we've just done. Returning back to center, pressing the fingertips all the way into the floor and lifting the base of the hand all the way up. Just a couple of times, very slowly moving up and down. I'm going to show it to you from a different angle, keeping the arms nice and straight. How slow can you come down? Keeping the elbows straight. Pressing into the top of the fingertips. Go slow. Next one will be a hold. And then release it as slow as you can. Curl the toes under Just do a couple of cat-cow on your lower back. Try not to move the other parts of the back. Just untucking and tucking. Stay in that untucked position as you start walking your hands toward your knees. We're stretching the toes here. You may stay all the way there, or optionally you could come all the way off of the hands, keeping your spine straight. And then the next option would be coming off the knees. Just stay wherever it's comfortable. And then come all the way back down. If you had the knees up, sit back on your heels. For this next exercise, I'm going to use my massage balls. You could use also tennis balls, or if you have nothing, then you'll be fine. Choose a seated position where you can keep your spine straight. You can also place a block between your legs. Reach your arms all the way forward. Start rotating your arms all the way in and then all the way out. Reach them up, or like in a V shape. And then from here, without moving your spine, start separating the shoulder blades away from each other and then squeeze them all the way back. So arms reach a little bit forward, shoulder blades separate away, and then squeeze together. If you're nearby a wall, especially if you have like an edge, then it's a really good place to do this exercise by pressing your spine into the wall. And that would give you a great feedback, making sure that you would not be using your spine and the movement would be happening only from the shoulder blades. So we keep moving the arms a little bit forward, protracting, separating the blades away from each other, and then squeezing them together, retracting. You can keep going with this movement, or if you want to add to it, the next time when you reach forward, you separate the shoulder blades, then lift the shoulders all the way up to the ears, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then send them all the way down, like a nice full circle. So just see what's available for you today, see what works. And then if you're circling, then change directions. And then release. Let's revisit that cat-cowing action of the lower back a couple of times. And if you have a block, then grab your block and place it on your lower back, on the top of your sacrum. It can be flat, or you can choose to place it on your sacrum with the skinnier side. That's a little bit harder. And let's revisit that protraction, retraction from this position. Separating the shoulder blades away from each other and then squeezing them together. Keeping the neck nice and straight, lifted from the throat. You can add the circles if you wish to. And I just lost my block, which means that I got my other body parts involved in the movement. This is why I really love using props, because they give you really good feedback. I like to look at props as tools instead of crutches. So just keep circling, just a couple of more. Switch the direction, keep the elbows and the arms nice and straight. And now move the block aside and come into a child's pose. do any movement, what feels good here. You could come up on your fingertips, twist a little bit side to side. Just a little bit of a break before returning to the hands again, placing that block all the way back into the top of the sacrum. We're going to add to this a little bit. Tuck your toes under and hover your knees off of the ground. And then this could be already a lot of work, just staying there in that hovering position. Or optionally, you can start doing that same protraction, retraction. And then of course you can also choose to add the circles. It's a lot harder, there's a lot of load now. So just do what works for you. And then release. Move that nasty block to the side and push yourself all the way up into a downward facing dog. Bend your knees, press the floor away. And you can keep alternating, paddling the feet out. Pressing the floor away, gaining some strength in the spine. So you can always keep your knees bent, you don't need to straighten the legs. And then you could also add a little bit of a twist. Right arm reaching for the shin or the ankle. And then switching side. Pressing more into that one arm. And then slowly walking your hands all the way back to your feet, coming up on the fingertips, bending the knees, keeping the spine flat. As you exhale, fold, release the crown of the head. Inhale again, press into the fingertips. Exhale, release. You could rock a little bit side to side here. Bend one knee, then the other. And now let's bend into the left knee. Left hand comes into center and reach that right arm up for a twist. And then switching sides, right knee bends, right arms down, reach the left hand up. And as you release, walk the hands all the way forward into plank position. Squeeze the glutes, keep pulling the fingers to your toes, toes to the fingers, as you slowly bend the elbows and lower all the way down in one piece. Move the props out to the side if you have any. Come up on the fingertips so your elbows are in line with your shoulders. And then lift the head of the shoulders up and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Feet are pressing into the ground, pelvis is pressing into the ground. And then see if you need to adjust your hands and just come up a little push-ups. Squeezing the blades together, but it's not really necessary to come up. You can also just stay down there, working there, listening to your body, seeing what works for you. What is it, what feels good? And then come all the way back down. Reach your left arm out to the side. Stay on the right fingertips as you reach your right leg all the way back. Maybe that right arm wants to reach behind. Maybe that top leg wants to bend. Anything what feels good here, just do it. Then reach the right arm out. Come up on the left fingertips and shoot that left leg all the way over. You can find different things, bending, extending the leg. And then slowly returning all the way back into center, hovering the hands off of the ground, keeping the chest heavy. Elbows are lifting. Curl the toes under, pushing all the way back into plank or downward facing dog. Walk your feet in a little bit to make your downward dog a little bit shorter. Generously bend the knees. And then walk your hands toward your feet again. Spine is long, stay on your fingertips, head is up. As you gently start walking your fingertips and the torso over to the right. Then back into center, over to the left, but just the torso, not the pelvis. And then back into center again, drop the head down, press into the feet, and slowly roll all the way up to standing. Take your time, making sure that your head comes up last. Standing nice and straight. Slowly start lifting your heels all the way up and then all the way down. And again, all the way up onto the tippy toes. And hold. And all the way down. Shift the weight over to the left leg, so your right leg will hover off of the floor as you bend the right knee and bring it to the chest. Wrap your hands around it, pull it up a little higher. And now release your hands, but keep the same action going. Keep pulling the knee up actively. Let's do it again. Put your hands around it, lift it up a little bit higher, and then see if you can hold it actively. Start bending the left knee and with control step that right foot forward, shift the weight all the way into it and then shift back. So shifting the weight into that right leg and then coming back just a couple of times. Next time you shift forward, then just stay there, leave the weight in the front leg and then move the knee out as a half circle and pull back. Push the knee forward, move it out to the other direction and push back. So it's like doing little knee circles. Pushing forward, knee goes out, pushes back. You can continue to do in that way or you can make it a full circle again. And if you've been circling, if you know this exercise, then you probably are already circling, then you can switch directions. And now bend into that front knee again as you pick up that back leg. Hover the left foot off of the ground. Wrap your hands around your knees. And now we're going to go up and down. So keep lifting that left knee and bend into that right ankle generously. Just 3 more. Up and down. Go as deep, go as low as you can. And then this time you come down, it's going to be a hold. And then as I release my hands, slowly with control, I try to come all the way down and arrive into a low lunge. Come up with the torso. And then let's do a couple of pelvic movements here. Out to the sides or back and forth. Seeing what's available for us here today. And then start shifting the weight into that front leg again. A couple of times. And then the next time, walk the foot out to the side. Maybe reach your arms all the way up if it feels good. And then now all the way out to the other side. Back to center. And one more time, shift forward into center and now we're going to hold. Reach the arms as high as you can. As you shift back, lift your heel up and come up on your tippy toes. And see for a second if you can take that leg away and return back into a kneeling position, slowly with control. Return back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees and walk your hands toward your feet. Release your head. Inhale, look up again, spine is long. And again, crown of the head releases as you slowly with control roll all the way up to standing. Knees are bent or straight. Head comes up last. As we prepare for the other side, shift the weight over to the right leg. Make your left leg light. So it wants to hover off of the ground. Then bend that left knee and bring it to the chest. Wrap your hands around it, pull it up a little bit higher. Keep the squeezing action going and then release your hands. Hold it active. One more time. Passively lift it up a little bit higher. See if we can hold that. Keep squeezing, hold. Start bending the right knee. With control, step that left foot forward, shift the weight into it, and then shift back. A few more times back and forth as we prepare for those circles again. Shifting all the way forward. And now staying forward, moving the knee out into one direction, pulling back, then shifting forward, moving the knee in to the other direction and pulling back. Broken down little circles. Or if you have experience at this, then you can just keep circling all the way around. And then switching directions. Paying attention to the arches of your feet, making sure that you don't lose the arches during the circles. And then bending into that front leg, picking up the right leg now, trying to keep the pelvis nice and neutral as you bring the knee higher up, maybe wrapping your arms around it. And then bending into that left ankle as deep as you can, and then coming all the way up. And then again, lowering all the way down, all the way up. The focus is on the left ankle. And this one is going to be a hold again. And then release the hands. Make your way back into that low lunge. Keep your spine straight. Move your pelvis side to side. Find a little bit of work on the right hip flexor and then start pushing the weight forward and then out to the side and then out to the other side. Back to center, reach the arms up. One more round out to the side, out to the other side, back to center, and now lean into it and hold. Shift all the way back, come up on your tippy toes. And let's do a little bit of hip proprioception work here. See if that left foot can stay up. And then make itself all the way down. Shift back into downward dog. Press the floor away. And this time walk your hands all the way forward to the top of the mat. And slowly roll all the way up to standing, taking your time. Your head arrives last. Stand up straight again as you reach the arms all the way up without letting those ribs pop out. And then folding forward, knees are bent or straight, releasing the crown of the head. Inhale, press your hands to your shin, halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, stepping the feet back for plank, pulling the toes to the fingers, fingers to the toes, as you slowly, with control, release all the way down. Keep the feet pressing into the ground. Keep your pelvis heavy as you hover the hands off of the floor. Chest is heavy. And from here, it's either an upward dog or just pushing all the way back into downward facing dog. Come all the way down into a seated position. Any seated position will work, where you can keep your spine nice and straight. Reach the arms all the way out to the side, and then bend the left elbow, reach your right arm above your head. Switch sides, right elbow bends, left arm reaches. And from here, come all the way down. Laying down on your back. Both knees are bent as you slowly, with control, roll all the way down. Both knees are bent. Reach the left arm up toward the ceiling. As you lift your head up, your shoulders up, and you roll over to the right side. And then release back. This time take the hips with it too, and then reach over to the left. Same movement we started with in the beginning. We're just revisiting. Seeing if it feels a little bit of different this time. And then let's just do one more to the left. As you roll the torso all the way back to center, the arms can reach up above your head, and now only the legs are gently windshield wiping side to side. And drop the knees over to the right. Maybe that right hand travels all the way to the left rib, pushes it down. You could also use your right hand and pull your left arm a little bit more out of your shoulder blade, making that side stretch on the left side a little bit more intense. And then dropping the legs over to the left. Arms don't need to be above the head. They can also just reach out to the side. If you're a rib popper, this is a good area to check that your ribs are not firing out. And then see if you want to deepen that stretch on the left side. Keeping those ribs down. And then slowly and gently rolling all the way back to center. A few more wind chill vibes on those legs, side to side, as you slowly ease yourself all the way back, finding that resting position. Legs are straight forward now. Arms can be out to the side. Close your eyes and just return to your breathing. Let's spend a few more breaths together in Shavasana. Let's get our practice integrated in our head. With every exhalation, feel your body parts getting heavier and heavier, sinking into the ground. Just taking a long, deep breath. We're going to stay here for another few rounds of breathing. But if this is the place where you would like to spend more time, then please do so. After your next exhalation, slowly start moving your toes and your fingers. Gently start bending one knee then the other, bringing it to the chest. Maybe rocking a little bit side to side, giving the back of the pelvis a nice massage. When you're ready, shift over to whatever side it feels comfortable for you. Let's stay there for another breath or so, creating a pillow under your head with your arm. And then when you're ready again, press yourself all the way up into a seated position. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Any questions or any feedback, please comment below. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you soon again. Thank you.